Happy January 2nd, 2025. I'm almost down to the beach and I can barely see the ocean in this heavy fog this morning. However, there is no wind, so calm seas, it looks like, is what we have here today. A beautiful morning, a little bit foggy, a little bit chilly, but as I said, no wind. We're going to get you caught up on all the very latest. Let's get into it. I'll set up right now, and I'll be back with the morning briefing in another second. Good morning, my friend.
Watch, look at the screen, straight red, drop it down, instant bite.
Yeah, so like at 3:30 you got up, 3:35 you got bit.
Myself out here, had to make it happen, we got on the boat.
You gaffed the fish and caught the fish by yourself.
They call it a solo cholo sometimes.
So cool. Fantastic.
Truly amazing angling feat by Kalani Gonzalez. Hooking the fish, fighting the fish, gaffing the fish. Oh, yeah, and one other thing. Waking everybody else up on the independence so they could come out and get a shot at a big bluefin also. Nice going, Kalani.
Gonna need a second gaff. Wow. Nice. Beautiful fish. Good job, Sean.
Yeah, baby! Yeah!
You guys remember Brian was talking about in the seminar fishing a sinker rig, so Jeff took him up on it. He's fishing 100-pound, so he's got it on the right tackle. Been on it for a while now, and it's a nice fish. Got to be something in that 80-pound class, maybe even bigger. Long, arduous battle continuing here. Been on it for about a half an hour. Jeff's on a really nice fish. It's still stripping some line. It's a really nice fish. We're all praying we get this thing. All right, Jeff's getting close. We've got deep color on this fish. It's a two gaffer for sure. It's a really nice fish. Woo! Oh my God, what a fish! Wow, Jeff, way to go! Congrats, buddy!
Quite a bait back there, guys. Good school coming down on 120 feet. I hear them. Got a pretty good school here. Yeah, I haven't seen these dolphin yet. They were around last night. Couldn't get away from them. They got to be around here somewhere.
All right, we can find these ponies. Good thing to start with.
We'll see you guys down here. We had a great start to our morning. We've been drifting all night since last night, and just the amount of fish we've seen, we didn't leave. So that fish gathered up on us probably around, like Phil said, 3:30, 4 o'clock. Guys started waking up, started getting bites around, 5:30, 6. We put on, really nice yellowfin. I think we had 50 for our morning. 9 bluefin up to probably 160 pounds. Can't beat it. Great start so far.
Before we get started on today's morning briefing, don't forget, if you're headed to Ensenada, you're going to want to give Zeke Casas a call. Only 15 minutes from downtown, but just check out that spectacular view while in Ensenada, Baja California Norte. And if that garage door is giving you a problem, then you're going to want to call your garage door man. That's Joe Welker. Tax problems? Nobody better than our friend Tim Marquez. Tim's been doing taxes for 35 years. Give the tax man a call today. And for your heating and or air conditioning needs, you're going to want to talk to our dear friend John Lopez at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning.
Alright guys, try it there, let them go from about 390 feet.
Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California on a foggy, kind of cool morning. However, as I mentioned on the lead-in, there's very little wind at all as that tide is creeping up behind me right now. So great to have you with us on the second day of January 2025. Count your blessings from last year because they are so numerous. I don't care what your plight in life is. There's always somebody who's having a more difficult time, and you need to count your blessings. And I'm really talking to myself because a heart filled with gratitude is a heart that just cannot be miserable. You're always going to have happiness along with you when you feel that way. All right, enough of that. We got a lot of sport fishing to get into with you right now. Before we do, could you hit that like button, please? We deeply appreciate it when you do that. If you could share this video with a friend, also deeply appreciate it. Subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel and tick that little bell. You'll be notified when there is new content. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, and also Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You know what time it is. It is time for the morning briefing. I really need this. Good morning, my friends. Oh my God. Is that good or what? And it is so great to be here with you all as I try to warm up a little bit here this morning. Beautiful morning. I don't see anybody out walking around, but I guess, normally I can see further than 50 yards. It's pretty soupy down here today, and it's going to be soupy outside on the water, so be very careful. Fog is a very, very, very dangerous thing when you are on the water, so keep that in mind. Long-range boats out of San Diego have pointed their bows south and are heading down on a variety of different trips. Some of those guys are going to be checking that 300-mile yellowfin tuna area out, which has been biting for several months now. When I say 300 miles, I mean 300 miles south of Point Loma, San Diego. So several boats got in on that day after Christmas. One of them was the Independence, our dear friend Ernie Montano, Jim Valenzuela, and their group, and a bunch of other really fantastic anglers on board. Captain Billy put them on that fish, and they hammered out close to 300 yellowfin tuna. Several other boats were there, all of them having that same great fishing with a little bit of bluefin tuna mixed in with it. Phenomenal, given the fact that we're in January, now we're into winter, and we still have that fish fairly close to San Diego. That is really great news. And hopefully that fish will hang there, and then by the time we roll into spring and into summer, it comes right back up the Baja coast, and who knows, maybe we're catching 20 to 90 pound yellowfin tuna real close to San Diego this year. At least that is the hope. Mixed with it, that bigger bluefin, so you want to fish as heavy a line as is possible. 40 pounds sometimes you'll need to drop down to get a bite. Other times you can fish a little bit heavier. You'll have to gauge the intensity of the bite. And the long range crews, they are so good. Just talk to one of the guys, talk to them about what they saw the last trip, what the fish were biting on, and they will clue you in. They want you to catch fish, so make sure you take advantage of their knowledge and the fact that they were just out on the water fishing this fish, and you should be good. Other guys are headed down to the 16-day range. We'll watch them. They're going to be in search of wahoo and giant yellowfin tuna, and there's been some extraordinary catches made this year on really big yellowfin tuna. Last year, I should say. So we'll see if it bleeds in to 2025. We'll be watching that very, very closely for you. All right, the regs have all changed now here in Southern California up until March. So we can catch whitefish. You cannot catch sheephead. If I have this wrong, by the way, leave a comment down below. We'll be able to add sheephead back in March here. But right now, whitefish and a lot of focus on halibut and calico bass, sand bass, and species like that. Of course, you can catch perch, blue perch, and fish like that, but no rockfish anymore. End of story until April, when we will have a couple of great trips to celebrate the Rockfish Opener. It's not too early for you to book one on board the Island Spirit out of Ventura Sport Fishing. We had such a great season with Daniel and his great crew out of Ventura and all the people in the ticket office and all those folks. We had such a great time. And the El Patron, another boat that I enjoyed fishing on this past year. They are out of Long Beach Sport Fishing in Long Beach, California. We've got a trip with them next April also. There they are. Now, the El Patron is going to continue to fish Catalina Island all month long. No fuel surcharge, reduced price, limited loads. I don't know how you can beat it. And they got a very good chance to catch a halibut or a sea bass or even, some calico bass in the wintertime. There's a lot of live squid around this year, and that could pay big dividends on that trip to Catalina Island. So keep that in mind. LongBeachSportFishing.org. Get on the El Patron this weekend. It's only a couple of more days, and they'll be out. In fact, tomorrow they have plans to go. If they get enough people, they're definitely going to go. As I hear the foghorns out there in the background making some racket here this morning. So our islands are pretty well, guys are looking at the Coronado Islands every once in a while, catching a few yellowtail. La Jolla has been the area where the yellowtail have been in and along the coast. San Clemente Island, nobody's really looking at that. Catalina will be right in the sights of the El Patron, and several other guys that may want to take a look out there in that neck of the woods. And the Channel Islands, again, they're able to catch whitefish up there, and they have a really good possibility at halibut and white sea bass. There's a tremendous amount of squid up there also. That is a magnet that attracts predators. We'll keep our eyes on that and see where we go from here. And then further up to the north of there, Verges in Morro Bay, up there in San Francisco, they're done with the rockfish also for right now. Taking a look along the Southern California coast, half, 3/4 day boats. As I mentioned, La Jolla still shows some possibility at some really nice yellowtail. I mean, finding one under 15 pounds, pretty tough to do. They're all nice, 18, 20, 25, bigger than that. Biting the yo-yo iron, which is a small, heavier jig that you sink deep and wind on fast, and sometimes the surface iron, a much lighter jig that makes its way across the surface of the ocean and lends itself to some really great eye candy when that fish explodes on the surface and eats your iron. I don't know if there's anything quite like that, even though you might have trouble seeing it on a day like today. Again, along the coast, we continue to pick up a few halibut. Our friend John Ho was on the Dolphin yesterday, and they had a couple of halibut on board there. John was having his usual fine first day of January 2025. He decided to celebrate it just like I thought he would on board the Dolphin, having a great time with some really great people. A little bit of halibut down there. There's some fairly decent bass fishing at night on the twilight trips out of Marina del Rey. They continue to do pretty well on that. And again, that is going to be structure fishing, meaning they're fishing an old shipwreck or some other material that has found its way, an artificial reef, pinnacles and rocks. Anyway, they're fishing structure, and that's why it's really important you fish heavy line, like 40-pound. You've got to pull fast and hard. You give those fish just a little bit of time, those sand and calico bass, and they're back into the hole they came out of to eat your bait. So make sure you're fishing heavy. And fluorocarbon is a good idea because it's abrasion resistant and will help you sometimes in terms of when you start to get into those crevices and rocks and that fish is trying to saw you off. Gives you a little bit better advantage when you're doing that. So some of that in Redondo, we'll see some of that hopefully on the Monte Carlo out of 22nd Street Landing. Out of 22nd Street Landing, the Native Sun is going to start running their halibut derby here real soon. Same thing down there out of Dana Wharf sport fishing. And also the Ghost has had some sea bass and halibut here recently. Out of 22nd Street Landing, a 6-pack yacht run by Sean Roberts, and the Pride has had some pretty decent fishing on halibut and white sea bass. On the lobster front, the Amigo out of 22nd Street Landing continues to fish lobster. Man, we went out with them a month or so ago, thanks to our dear friend, Doug Tilk. Doug, Happy New Year, my friend. And I'll tell you, we had such a good time. I know it had a lot to do with the crew and Mark Paisano Jr., the captain, and the great people who were on board. It was so much fun. But boy, what a show. Jason and Mark, the deckhands, Jason's also the cook, put on for us. The entertainment was free, and man, it was really hilarious stuff. Really good. That video is on here. You can take a look at it right now and see exactly what I mean. In fact, maybe I'll post it on our Facebook page. Don't forget, Friedman Adventures on Facebook, on Instagram. So many times you can see other material, other content that we have for you. So check that out. It will indeed tickle your fancy. I'll guarantee you that. In the Southern California surf, let me look back here and concentrate on this. for a moment. It's perfect conditions to catch some surf fish today. You don't have those giant waves crashing in here on the beach. You can make a cast with a chrome crocodile or a lucky crab lure right now and pull a halibut out of here. That is a distinct possibility. Also, those bigger barred perch, the slabs like to bite on it. Bait is your best asset in the wintertime when fishing the Southern California surf. If you're after catching lots of fish, you're going to want to go to bait. It will really help you to achieve your sport fishing and surf fishing dreams. And there's no better place than, of course, Big Fish Bait and Tackle right there on the corner of Pacific Coast Highway and Seal Beach Boulevard. They are there waiting for you. You can get all your bait, tackle. They are Southern California surf fishing headquarters, but they don't stop there. They've got tackle for everything. Big bluefin, marlin, trout, freshwater bass. You'll find it at Big Fish Bait and Tackle. Fishing a ghost shrimp is a good idea right now. You can pull off some nice catches on worms fishing that. And this looks like a good day. The water temps have cooled down here, and that means barred perch. Yeah, there's an occasional yellowfin croaker hanging out, and many times in the wintertime it seems like there's those big ones hanging out, but they prefer warmer water, as do corbina and other species. So now we have the other species moving in, the colder water species. A lot of perch and a lot of barred perch, and there's been some nice ones down here. You can't see it, and I can't see it, but down there where that big tower is on Anderson Street and Pacific Coast Highway, you walk out there, you fish the window 2 hours before the high tide until 2 hours after the high tide, and I'm telling you, there's been some slab barred perch taken down there. Some days are slow, some days are wide open. Mostly the smaller ones, but a few big ones also mixed in with that. I don't know how you can beat that kind of fishing. All right, my friends, a beautiful morning. I know you think I'm nuts. It's foggy, it's cold, looks kind of miserable, but it's beautiful. It really, really is. And it's beautiful of you to be here on the second day of 2025 with all of us here on Friedman Adventures. And of course, we'll have more content as the day goes on. And if anything breaks on the long range scene or in sport fishing in general, I will have it for you here. What we're with Friedman Adventures breaking news. I knew I'd be able to spit that out at some point in time. All right, my friends, have a great day today. As always, it's so nice to have you with us, and I hope to see you really, really soon.